So I just made an entire video and the recording just fucking crashed. So, let's redo it. So we got a big leak dump yesterday, and it's mostly revolving around Phainon, right? So let me not waste your time, and let's get straight into it. Phainon's technique restores energy to all allies upon entering battle. At Eidolon 1, his ultimate also restores energy to all allies after it ends. So we got a leak a little bit ago that a future character would be able to regenerate energy for the entire team, but I don't think anyone actually expected it to be a DPS, right? So if this is true, it kind of makes sense, right? It kind of makes sense. Heng preservation will probably be his best in slot sustain, which I'll get into a little bit. Sunday's ult is a single target thing, so it would instantly build a stack for him. And this also helps Robin synergy quite a bit and makes him quite strong for sustainless comps, right? So there's that for Phainon. The next leak is that the part about becoming a target, which I'll explain a little bit, each time Phainon is targeted by either allies or enemies, he will gain a stack, and these stacks, once built up enough, will make him transform into his second form, where he has multitude of, attack options, right? So the more he gets targeted by enemies, and the more he gets targeted by allies, the faster he builds up to this second transformation. And this leak basically confirms that, yes, enemies attacking him will make him gain a stack. And something a lot of people are either happy or sad that has been confirmed. Yes, another physical destruction character who is a counter attacker. When he is targeted by enemies, he will counter attack. So it is what it is, right? I made jokes about this for months on end previously, not thinking this would actually happen, but they made it happen anyways. Another physical destruction character who's a counter attacker, right? Ooh, get daring, are we? Let's go into the next leak, right? So in this leak, I'm going to put it up on the screen. This is going to be the skill button layout using Firefly's, own buttons as a reference. And basically, Phainon is going to have 3 different skill buttons in his transformation mode. Apparently, each one is different, and you use it depending on the enemy lineup, meaning he probably has an AoE, a blast, and a single target, or at minimum, just an AoE and a blast attack. So, hey, sounds pretty universal, sounds pretty broken, but we'll obviously see how it ends up going when the real V1 comes out, right? Next, we have some information about Heng preservation. He was changed from fire to physical. Are we surprised? I think we all remember the Yun Li incident. We have the My Day incident where characters have mostly fire around them and their animations, yet somehow end up being a different element. I don't know why they always do this with fire characters or characters that have a lot of fire, but it's whatever, right? He is still preservation. So even though the element has changed, he is still confirmed preservation. He's a shield/support character, and he has a dragon as a personal summon. No. If he's preservation, this means it's not a remembrance character. He's just a summon character. So it seems like Hoyo isn't getting rid of summon characters. They're just mainly focusing on remembrance ones with summons, right? So, and for the last leak, this is something that I've been theory crafting a little bit about, right? Basically, for a while now, I've been saying that in Amphoria specifically, we are getting full best in slot teams around 3 patches in a row, right? By this I mean we had Herda 3.0, Tribi 3.1, Anoxa 3.2, right? Castris, we had 3.1 Tribi, 3.2 Castris, 3.3 Hyacine. So for these big DPS drops that are really important, they kind of give them 3 patches in a row to get their full best in slot team finished. And I theorized that it would be 3.4 Phainon, 3.5 Ceredra, and 3.6 Dawn Hung Preservation. Now, I was just kind of throwing whatever the fuck around back then, and it was just something I randomly thought of, but it seems to be true, because SP Dawn Hung can apply buffs that allow teammates to summon a dragon. The summoned dragon is considered the teammate's summoned creature. Therefore, after Phainon activates his ultimate, if the teammates leave the field, the dragon remains with Phainon because it's treated as his own summoned creature. So, not only does this massively increase his Sunday synergy if that dragon creature ends up wanting to be able to take more turns or does a decent bit of damage, but it does seem that this Dawn Hung Preservation sustain will just straight up be his best in slot sustain. Now, how? How does it make sense that a Preservation is best in slot with a, counter attacker? I've had this, once again, theory for months now, again, because, I go through a lot of stuff with chat on stream, that there's a possibility that the Dawn Hung Preservation could transfer his sustain abilities or his aggro to another teammate and take the damage for them, or the dragon takes damage for the teammate, right? And in this way, a counter attacker would benefit massively from the increased aggro on them, and it would help Phainon be able to build up stacks and obviously get into his form a lot more, right? So he is like a bit of a pseudo remembrance character, pseudo summon character, if you pulled the Dawn Hung Preservation as his sustain for Phainon, which once again, that increases the Sunday synergy quite a bit, and we'll end up seeing how that plays out. So that's all the leaks we have. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. Peace out.